Welcome to Chasing Dragonflies. Join us as we explore the glorious chaos of chasing life, only to discover the God of the universe is chasing us. I'm your host, Jane Foster, triplet mom and fellow sojourner in the land of motherhood. Good morning, friends. I've got Betty Martin with me today. Betty has been a trusted mentor of mine that I have so appreciated, that has been able to speak good words of wisdom and encouragement in my life, and I'm excited to get to share her with you today. I met Betty, goodness, has it been 6 or 7 years now?
Yeah.
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 A local church program called Navigating Motherhood that was for this exact purpose. There is a passage in Titus 2 that talks about older women mentoring younger women, and I love the concept of that because it's so meaningful to have people that are farther along in the journey than where we are in this moment be able to say, hey, hang in there, keep going. I know you're in the weeds right now, but there's hope and things get better, and then there's even beauty in some of the hard and the challenges.
Yeah.
So I'm just thrilled to have Betty with you today. Betty, tell us, who are you and where'd you come from?
First, I'm a follower of Jesus. I've been married almost 49 years to my college sweetheart. We have 3 adult children in their 40s, twin daughters and a son. And then my newest title is grandmother, and I absolutely love that. My passion in life is to be a cheerleader for generations behind me. That's just what I love to do. And God's put me in so many special places where I can actually do that. So it's just wonderful that I get to kind of live in that space.
And you do that well, definitely.
Thank you.
Are living that out well. Easy to connect with you because I'm another multiples mom. And so,
Right.
As you know, there's a lot of us, but then there's also a few of us. When you look in the grand scheme of things, you don't run into
Yes.
other twin triplet moms all over the place,
Right.
like you do moms that have one baby at a time.
Right.
Share with our listeners, because we've got other multiples moms listening, what are some of the unexpected blessings of raising multiples, and then maybe some challenges as well?
I'll start with the blessings. And to me, it was just so fascinating and such a treat to have 2 the same age and watch them grow and mature together. And now I have 2 wonderful adult daughters, so that's a blessing. But it was just, not everybody gets to see the children interact the way they get to interact and how they get to enjoy each other growing up. And that was just kind of my pleasure to see all that as they were growing up. Just overall how they matured and did their own lives and grew up. Now, the challenges, the obvious challenge is the first 2 or 3 years I didn't get much sleep.
Sure.
And I was kind of aware I was in survival mode a lot of the time. I didn't like it. But as I've gotten older, I would have loved to enjoy them all the time because I knew they were incredible blessings. But I was in survival mode a lot. And I've kind of learned to give myself some grace about that, because having 2 babies at one time, or 3, is just hard. And I didn't get enough sleep and physically was exhausted a lot. And another challenge is going to be quite obvious, and I might still cry about this, is they both went to college at the same time. So we went from a fairly large household to small. And that was really hard to drive away from them at college. The other challenge that for me, it was, and I don't know if any of your other multiple moms will have been through this, but our girls are identical, but they very much from a very young age wanted to be their own person. And I had some expectations of being a twin mom, and I thought it would be really fun to dress them alike and that they would just always love each other and all the little, cutesy things that I want them to do. And really from a very young age, that was not them. So we had challenges, and I'm not a twin. So I was trying to understand what it would be like to have someone just looks just like me, but very different in the same space as I was at the same time, which is what they struggled with. I think I'm telling it from my point of view. I'm not sure what our daughters would say.
Sure.
But I mean, they would do things like as they got older, we would have wardrobe checks where they would, before they would go to school in the morning, they would check to see that they approved of their sister's clothes, whatever, accessories, whatever she had on. Because if somebody saw her and thought that she was them, they didn't want to look bad. So they were, and they did look alike, and they tried wearing their hair differently, and people didn't like that. Just to see how culture doesn't, our school kids, younger kids, didn't always understand what twins were. And it was easy for them, since they did look alike, just to call them twins or the twin. So it was a challenge to help them develop their personalities and let them be who God really made them to be. And like I said, since I wasn't a twin and wasn't really expecting that was hard.
Goodness, I'm relating to so much of what you're saying. For me, I'm an older mom, had triplets at 36, and had some health challenges, had some miscarriages, had some infertility issues. And so finding out that I was going to get to have 3 was like I hit the jackpot.
Right.
Huge blessing. And that helped to carry me through those early years where you are surviving, you're trying to keep them alive, and you don't get much sleep, was remembering, hey, I get to do this. Yes, it is hard. I'm not sugarcoating that, but boy, there were years of longing for this. Just reminding myself. But goodness, the challenge, I thought I understood sibling rivalry. I'm an oldest child of 5, and there's 5 of us in 6.5 years, no twins. So everybody's really close in age. I'm the oldest. My sister's the youngest. 3 brothers in between us. I think boys are just made to compete. Girls can certainly be competitive, but I think boys are just wired more intensely that way. And so to have 3 that share a birthday, none of mine are identical. We've got fraternal. So no confusion there on appearance. But no doubt someone's going to do something first. Teaching them how to ride a bike, and someone is going to figure it out first. Now, it might be minor. It might be the day before or a week before someone else, not significant, but it's still first. So that constant competition is challenging, because I want them to be cheerleaders for each other. And compete in a healthy way, not in a way that, goodness, is a constant arm wrestling match over a shotgun. Who's going to sit in the front seat? And it can just about come to blows at times over that. So
I can totally relate to that. And they will compete, and then sometimes one will win and then the next one will win, but they don't seem to remember that. They remember what's in the moment more, like, and even sometimes they feel like they're a failure because they didn't do what their sister did. And so there's just a lot of dynamics when they're the same age.
Sure.
And I don't know what you run into for friend groups, but, most likely, at least with our daughters, their friend groups intersected. So then there's a lot of drama in girls about some of that. So, but some of that I think is just more, not multiples necessarily, just girl stuff.
Sure.
So
just kids. Just
kids. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm also relating to some of what you're saying about being viewed as the twins. Because they're the triplets, and exceptionally different personalities and different gifts and different strengths. So I know that they all have that inner longing to be their own person and be viewed as their own person, but also love the camaraderie of each other because they've always been like their own built-in play group. You didn't have to have kids over to socialize them. They already had their own play group.
And in many ways, that is one of the blessings because they get to learn the dynamics of relationships really early on.
Yes.
It's with their siblings. So that is, yes. And we want them to be different people. Even though they look alike, I didn't want them to be carbon copies of each other. It's just that developing that was just more difficult than I would have imagined.
Sure. Absolutely. What would you say, looking back to a younger Betty, in a time of having littles, or even teens, preteens, and even launching kids together into college, and you have a third as well, not just that set of twins. What would you say, looking back, as a word of encouragement or a word of wisdom at those different stages that you've already walked ahead of many of us in that journey?
Well, probably in each stage, I would say God can be trusted, and this is going to be okay. As I was going through some of those stages, I would get really focused on the details because you want the very best for your children, and you want them to do the right things, and you want to parent that correctly when they don't. So I would just really tell myself, I would give myself more grace. And you don't have to be a perfect parent. Nobody is. There's no formulas for doing it just exactly right. But honestly, when I look back, I would say God really can be trusted. It doesn't always work out like you want or I wanted, but He is wise and loving, and it does always work out. And I wish I would have considered that more. And really, one time we were going through a really difficult time with one of our kids, and we talked to an elder at church, and he said, "Oh, those are times God gives you just to stay on your knees." So there is blessings. Because I remember just laying prostrate going, "God, I have no idea what to do next." And at the time it was really important, and it was really important that I take it to God. But He just is so faithful to work all things out. And I think I would be a little easier on myself than I was. Because like you said, it's just so important. You want them to grow up to be loving, responsible, Jesus-loving adults, functional without me. And that's just hard.
It's bumpy.
It's bumpy. That's a great way to put it. It's very bumpy.
No, absolutely. We were catching up a few weeks ago and talking about how we're in a different phase with technology than certainly how you grew up or how I grew up, and then you even raising and launching kids, and now you've got grandkids. And so are witnessing young people navigating things that just weren't available even 5, 10, 15 years ago. And the challenge of figuring out the balance and the blessing of that when it's not something that you dealt with your kids growing up. What's that look like for you in being able to relate to grandkids at this stage?
Well, it's a challenge to keep them off their devices when they're with me or with us. And we have just real limited amounts of time with them. So grandparents have this special time. I couldn't do this if I was a parent because my relationship with them is not a 24/7. It's these fairly short periods of time, but my goal is to keep them off their technology. And the way I do that is I try to be fully involved in the moment, and I want to know what's important to them and be involved in that. Say we went through the phase where the trash truck was the most important thing. So we'd find a trash truck and giggle when the trash dumped because that was just so fun for that child. And so as I grow older, it's different, but just stay totally involved in the moment and know what's important to them, and whatever that activity is, maybe we can do that. Just focused on the moment more than the technology.
Mm-hmm.
And as I get older, it gets harder. As they're younger, it's a little easier to entertain them.
Mm-hmm.
One of my things is I try not to pick up my phone or be on my screens when they're with me. Once again, that's easier because I don't have to mop the floor or do laundry while they're here, where parents do.
Mm-hmm.
But I can just totally focus on them and try to stay totally related to them as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so important to me that my grandchildren know that I love them no matter what. And I just want to be able to look in their eyes and let them know they're so loved no matter what. And hopefully they have great parents that teach this at home, but I want them to know that God loves them no matter what. And I think that just will help so much with their identity as they get older. So in as fun and as loving ways I can, I want to do that with them. So I don't necessarily want them to feel like I've taken away their technology, as I'm giving them something much better, instead of saying, oh, let's not look at our screens right now. Let's go play ball or run to the park or whatever would be fun for them at that stage of their life. But it's hard. It's hard. I really can't imagine being a parent right now when you have so many other things to do, because a phone actually is a pretty good babysitter.
Right.
But when I'm with my kids, I want to be their babysitter.
Sure.
My grandkids. Yeah.
I think it's hard because for all of us, if there's a gap in time where when we're waiting for the next thing, and this could be in line at the grocery store, this could be we're almost ready for school, but it's not quite time to leave yet. All of those moments where we're in the almost, but there's a gap. The tendency is to grab the phone, and this is kids and adults alike.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Let me check this really quick, and then we go down a rabbit hole that we didn't intend to be going down, and we lost that moment. And now suddenly we're running late when we didn't have to be. And so
I relate to that.
Yes. Yeah. Myself included. So I think it's hard to be aware, one, of what we're modeling in those moments, and then to help engage and redirect the attention somewhere else. I can remember standing in line with my kids waiting for fried chicken at the deli one day because it was Cheap Chicken Monday. So that, they always want to know what's for dinner. This is for dinner. We're going to pick out our chicken. And we're standing there, and one was so frustrated because we're waiting because they're frying fresh chicken for whatever we have asked for, our order. And I said, you need to get really, really good at waiting because you're going to do this a lot in your life. You'll get to practice a lot. But I think
that's very wise. Yeah.
But none of us are good at it. We want to fill it with something else really fast that makes us feel better than just the gap.
And you're exactly right that most adults, if people pull their phones out at stoplights, so it's very addicting, which is one of the things I don't want my grandchildren addicted. But I know, phones are fun. And even for adults, like if you've had a bad day, it's fun to pick up your phone and kind of numb or distract or whatever.
Sure.
So I would like to model not doing that.
Right.
And just love on them when I get to be with them.
Sure. I love that you talked about being intentional with connecting on what's important to them in that moment. If it's a little that is delighted about the trash truck, then maybe we chase it down the street and we get to watch it, with all
we did, yes.
The whole neighborhood. But that takes some real intentionality on your part to pay attention to what's this kid into and what lights them up right now. And that changes and evolves as they get older, certainly.
So I want to kind of know as they do evolve, I do want to know what's important to them and be there with them and enjoy that too.
Sure.
And for the most part, ours are still young enough that we can do that. As they get older, I understand it's going to get more complicated. But right now, we're still in a place we can.
Sure.
So And I like that one. I like that. We can do that.
Sure. Absolutely. What do you want to be known for? And I bet it is not things that you would put on a resume necessarily of accomplishments or degrees. What in your heart's important to you that your legacy for your kids and your grandkids, that when they think of you, that's what you've passed on?
I want to be known for loving well, for understanding more than judging, and just be a cheerleader for anybody that comes in my path. My kids, my grandkids, but if I can be a cheerleader for anybody that passes through, and not so that I'll look good, that Betty will look good, so that Jesus will look good, and maybe that will influence people.
No, I love that. I want to be known for being somebody that shows up and celebrates the good things.
I like that.
We have had birthday parties for stuffed animals. We had a party one day just for the love of cheese, because we all like cheese. So it was all nothing but cheese on the menu. We were a little low on fiber that day. Not too many green things. We had mozzarella cheese sticks, cheese straws, macaroni and cheese. But you know what? Those kids spent an hour making a banner for the cheese party. And so I just want to show up and celebrate.
I love that, because that's so important.
all the
Not
victories.
necessarily big things. Yeah. The big things are important, but
Sure.
a cheese day is important.
Sure.
And they probably, I don't know when you did that with your children, but I'm going to guess they still remember it. If you said, hey, you remember that day we had the cheese party? They would remember it, wouldn't they?
And Fluffy turned 5, and we celebrated with Carrie. Now, the problem now is figuring out how to do that in a way where I don't get a side eye, because I've got 13-year-olds. And so my antics that they really appreciated at a younger stage are not quite as well received now. So it's figuring out.
There generally is something you can move on to, like whatever they do like, you can find that maybe. I don't know. Teenagers are different, but there's still things they usually enjoy. So it's just hard sometimes. But yeah, you have all those memories from when they did enjoy cheese party and Fluffy turning 5. And I think they now have that tradition of celebrating things that are just good. They don't have to be bigger or super important. They just know celebrating is a fun part of life. So I just love that.
That's good. Betty, thanks so much for being with us today and just sharing your love, your encouragement, your wisdom. What a blessing to have you in my life and to speak words of wisdom into. If you don't have somebody in your life that you can call on and say, hey, what was the stage like? Take the chance today. Look to somebody. It could be a family member, could be a friend of a friend, maybe somebody that goes to church with you that you think, she's walked ahead of me, and I just want to take the chance to ask and be vulnerable, and just say, this is where I'm at. How'd you handle this? What worked for you? Invite somebody to pour into you in that.
Yeah, I love that. And you're probably going to bless. I feel more blessed than the person that asked me, because it's just such a joy to be able to be with a younger person. So you're probably going to bless that person more than you ever would imagine. And most are so willing to share whatever knowledge, wisdom they have.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much. Go celebrate today, friends. Rock the Casbah. Bye-bye.